Counting the votes is a core function of government, along with law enforcement, maintaining the roads, keeping the border secure. Efficient elections are the reason you pay taxes.
Welcome to Ed in Exile.
But Arizona doesn't seem to have them. Why is that? Don't ask, commands CNN. If you've got questions about this or any other election, no unauthorized questions. Instead, watch CNN. Or if you don't have cable, simply trust your local officials.
You see, that's our first votes, and that's the wonder of democracy, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. And I wanted to point that out to be a little bit of the crank in the room following Brianna there.
Crank.
Stay off social media, people, if you're trying to figure out, are there really issues with votings? Trust your local officials, trust us here, trust a news source that you know, and trust, to be honest about this, they're doing their jobs and they're doing it right.
Yeah, no, they're not.
They're doing their jobs, they're doing it right. Really, CNN? Can we get a little more reporting on that? How right are they doing it?
Tucker nails CNN, and we love him for it. Speaking of, support this channel, ring the bell. But CNN just says, trust us. This is the Democrat Party basically controlling every hand of news media except Fox and those of us who are independent right here on YouTube.
The Republican Party, in the end, may take control of the House and the Senate, but only by a tiny margin at best.
True.
That's great, but it was not the plan. The plan was really simple. It seemed easy a week ago.
True.
An unpopular president, a faltering economy, an open border.
Yeah, with everything set up in our favor, what the heck happened? Tucker agrees with us that it's Democrat controlling all of media that allows them to endlessly spin everything in their favor.
Put all those together, how could there not be a massive Republican win nationally? Wins everywhere. Well, there weren't. Some exceptions, but overall, there weren't. Joe Biden was not punished. In fact, he was out there bragging about himself today. Pretty frustrating. You wanted Republicans to win, not simply because they're so great, but because Democrats are so very bad. And that's not an overstatement.
This is a big problem because the Republicans never made a positive case for their own party, first of all. Even though we don't own media, you still can't run on, but that other guy's really bad.
So what happened? Well, before we give you our theories as to what happened, one obvious point, the people whose job it was to win but did not win should go do something else now.
True.
We're speaking specifically of the Republican leadership of the House and the Senate and of the RNC. There's nothing personal. Some of them are no doubt nice people, but they took hundreds of millions of dollars to paint the map red, and they didn't. It doesn't mean they're evil. It doesn't mean they should be jailed. It does mean they shouldn't be promoted. No one should ever be rewarded for failure.
Actually, I think they should be jailed. But the point is that they had one job, and that your leadership has one job, and that's to win, and they failed. That is not Trump's fault. That's not even weak candidates' fault. It's a basic fault of the leadership of Republican Party.
If there's a truly conservative principle in life, it's the principle of the meritocracy. You reward excellence. You do not reward mediocrity, and when you do, things fall apart. Democrats kept promoting Tony Fauci, despite his obvious ineptitude. What is that? That's corruption. Republicans should never do anything like that, and if they do, what's the point of voting for them? They're no different. So the question is, why did Republicans underperform last night? And you're hearing a lot of people saying it was about abortion. Suburban ladies were mad about Roe. That's certainly plausible in some places, probably true. On the other hand, a number of resolutely pro-life Republicans thrived statewide.
It's not because of that issue, because we did have plenty of pro-life candidates that did well. We also had a number of Trump appointments that did well. And we also had a couple of RNC appointments that did terrible. So there's all these counterfactuals against kind of the mainstream narrative.
That would include Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, Brian Kemp in Georgia, Ted Budd in North Carolina, pro-lifers all. So abortion may have been a factor, but it's not the whole answer. Many others are saying that Donald Trump is the reason Republicans didn't do as well as they thought they would. That's a more complicated question. The truth is we can't really see the entire picture this early.
Yeah, Trump had almost no influence on this election from what I see. In fact, nobody had influence. Only Carrie Lake is out there trying, really.
I mean, the truth is Trump has always been a mixed blessing politically. The downsides are marbled in with the upsides, but in this case, he's certainly not the single cause of anything. Republicans last night suffered a fair amount of down-ballot losses in races that had nothing to do with Trump. In Michigan, for example. So whether you like Trump or not, and many don't and a lot do, it's a lot more complicated than just him.
I think what we're learning is that elections are complicated and you really can't predict the future. if anything.
And then there's the most amusingly stupid explanation. So bad candidates were the problem. And that's all over Twitter. All the Twitter pundits are telling you now the candidates were subpar, and that was the problem. Candidate quality matters. Well, of course, strictly speaking, that is true. The quality of a candidate does matter, but at really how much does it matter?
Dr. Oz was bad.
Well, let's see. Joe Biden got elected president 2 years ago from his basement. John Fetterman became a U.S. senator last night. Does anyone think John Fetterman was a quality candidate? Is that why he won? Because they had quality candidates on the left?
Yeah, I love that the face of Pennsylvania is John Fetterman. If elections are a mirror, that's what Pennsylvania looks like. Uncle Fester. And it's the future. He's the future of the Democrat Party. They're just going to keep running people more and more brain dead from their basement, hiding them with vote-in electors. They don't even have to campaign. They don't even have to talk. They don't have to be conscious. Democrats went from dead people voting to they're going to start running dead candidates.
Did the voters of Pennsylvania really want a brain-damaged candidate who's never had a real job? Did they think he was more impressive than the guy who spent his career doing heart transplants? Probably not.
Yeah, probably.
What is? Well, the mechanics of an election. They matter. In fact, they matter sometimes more than any individual running in the election. The way people vote makes a big difference to the outcome. And so, by the way, there's access to channels of communication.
Yeah, by the way people vote, he means mail-in ballots that definitely help the Democrats. It should help Republicans, but Republicans have almost no get out the vote for mail-in ballots. We're going to turn that around at the next election or get ready to lose forever.
Why does that matter? Well, because you can say whatever you want, but if no one hears you, you're not really speaking. And that's the case for Republicans. So often, as of tonight, Republicans can communicate their message unencumbered on a single cable television channel and a handful of relatively low-trafficked websites. That's it. The rest of the American media amounts to a gigantic filter designed to distort what Republicans are saying. It's a campaign apparatus, and only the Democrats have it.
Thank you guys for being here. Back to Tucker.
Now, you can whine about that. Ooh, the media are liberal.
Okay, I'm whining about it. Nah, the media is liberal.
But it's not about liberal or conservative. It's about winning elections. And Democrats can win because they have that. So if Republicans want to win elections too, they might spend some money to fix that, to achieve parity.
Thank you, Tucker Carlson. This has been Ed in Exile.